So welcome to Aligning Objectives with Learning Activities and Tools. Our facilitator for today's webinar is Dr. Tracie Ortiz. She is the Instructional Design Manager and Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Design Coordinator at Old Dominion University, my alma mater. She earned her PhD in Educational Technology from the University of Hawaii, specializing in accessibility and online learning. With over 30 years of experience in education, she has served as a special education teacher, addressing the needs of students with varying degrees of hearing loss and communication levels in K-12 settings. She has also taught at numerous universities and community colleges in Texas, California, Hawaii, Virginia, my birthplace. Dr. Ortiz research centers on accessibility and technology in online learning environments. In her current role, she focuses on developing instructional design strategies, refining and streamlining course development processes, preparing faculty to align course materials effectively for online learning. Let's welcome Dr. Tracie Ortiz.
Wow, I don't remember writing that bio. I think you used ChatGPT. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. But that made me sound great. I'm gonna use that again. Anyway, welcome everyone. I'm so happy you all are here. Gloria, if you don't mind, if there are some folks that come in after I post a resource document in the chat, if you don't mind reposting that. So if you want to follow as a resource document, I posted that. I'm going to be posting that right now. In there, basically, it's a resource document that has some of the information that I'm going to be covering, and I'm not going to be using a PowerPoint. I'm actually going to be using a Canvas site. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing now. And let me make sure I have it ready. Okay, so let me know if you do not have that resource document handy, so that, or if you need it to be posted again. I'm going to adjust my size of my screen. Okay. So welcome everyone. All right, so you should be seeing an introductory page. This is a Canvas. We use Canvas at Old Dominion University. So basically in this session, I don't want it to be just me, talking to you all like a talking head. There are going to be some interactive type opportunities. I'll have a few polls and some discussion depending on time and so forth. But overall, what we're going to be addressing are course level, module level objectives. I know the title talks about learning activities and aligning and so forth, and I am going to cover that. But after reading that title, I should have retitled it something a bit different that covers, because what are you going to align it with? You have to know about course level, module level objectives, and kind of their purpose. Why you even have this, and some of you all are probably experts in doing this. So I welcome feedback on anything to help improve this, because we hopefully can use some of these to do in-services with our faculty at our university. So we'll be focusing on aligning course level, module level objectives with assessments, instructional materials, and learning activities and tools. We use Canvas, so within the Canvas LMS, but if you don't use Canvas, you can definitely apply it to your LMS. And the importance of alignment in course design. So hopefully afterward, we'll start with our course level objectives. We're going to be comparing appropriately written objectives with those not written appropriately, applying strategies to create well-written course level, module level learning objectives, analyze the importance of alignment in a course, and then do some practice creating aligned course components. All right, so let's get started. Usually when we do courses, we have an overview, module learning objectives, and a module to do. This helps just create that navigation consistency with students. So I'm using that same practice here. Overview of what we're going to learn. We have a modular structure, some module level learning objectives in this particular module. So we're going to be comparing well-written, poorly written, analyze examples using Bloom's taxonomy, and evaluating to revise course level objectives and so forth. We're going to be going through reading the instructional material and then completing some practice exercises. Does it take 15 to 20 minutes? We'll see. Okay. So what are course learning objectives? So when focusing on a course, consider that your key takeaways. So what do you want your students to learn? Like, after the course is over, what are those primary key things that you want them to know? These will likely become your course learning objectives or CLOs. So you'll hear me say CLOs for short. They're broader in scope, and they are broader in scope than module learning objectives. Okay, and they describe what you want your students will learn at the course level. So you're thinking on a broader term. They must be measurable and observable, and we're going to talk more about that. They define what a student should be able to do successfully after completing the course. So finding that best action verb in order to write these involves a learning level. And to help with that, we use Bloom's. Okay, so again, here are the course level objectives for this session. I'm hoping that to accomplish by the time it's done. Okay, so I kind of just reposted them here. So they are the desired learning outcomes. So after this training, we're hoping that those are achieved. And you notice that they all begin with a verb. They're italicized and bolded. Okay, and this is the action desired. In the document that I sent, please let me know if you came in a little late, you did not get that, so we can post that link again. But in that practice and resource document, there is a link to Bloom's taxonomy. So if you don't mind opening that, and it should look like this. So you have knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation. There are a number of Bloom's taxonomy resources on the internet, but to simplify things, we're just going to be using this one. Okay, this is the resource document that if you can get it linked, there's that link right here. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do a poll really quick. And you know what? Am I allowed to do a poll while I am sharing? Let me find out. Hang on. Yeah, let's see. All right, so I am going to put a poll up. Go ahead and take a few seconds to answer this poll, maybe about 20 seconds. Let me know if you do not see a poll. All right. Okay, I'm going to end it. Let me wait a couple of seconds. There's a few people still answering. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll. I'm going to share the results. So the question asks, is the following objective measurable and observable? So I kind of want to see what may or may not be the difference before and after we do this training. So know the different dog breeds and their grooming needs. So 67% said no, it's not measurable and observable. 33, yes. Okay. And then for the following, out of 9 people, you all answered that that is not. Okay, so this is fantastic because for the first question, no, it is the correct one. So know the difference. So just to say, people are, why is that not measurable and observable? Anybody want to unmute real quick and just take a brief explanation of why? Are y'all, can y'all unmute?
I'll take a stab at it. You can't measure knowledge as like an action or skill.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mitchell. Correct. Same with understand. Like, how can you measure a person's understanding? You can't dig inside their brain and, you know, physically measure and observe that. Okay. All right. So we'll continue on. Thanks for that. Thank you, Lori. I saw your chat response. She said, how do you know that they know? All right, let's continue. So using Bloom, so you should have, if you don't, here's a copy right here of it open. So thinking about Bloom's, what does it mean, observable and measurable? So observable refers to actions that learners can visibly demonstrate, such as describe or analyze. Measurable means that performance of these actions can be assessed or quantified, ensuring a clear evaluation. So you want to be able to see how can you evaluate your student doing something, okay? So Bloom's taxonomy is a tool to help in getting these verbs, okay? So again, here's a copy of that, should you want to use it. Now, think about your own course or a topic that you may be teaching about. What would be the broad scope? Okay, what are the key takeaways after students complete the course? And you don't always have to have higher level at a course level objective. Higher level meaning, like, is it always going to have to be analysis, synthesize, evaluate? Because think of this as a hierarchy. When you know something, it's like your memorization, you're remembering, you're understanding, comprehending, you can demonstrate, then it gets a little harder, you're applying it. Now you're really thinking about it, you're analyzing it, and so forth. So does it always have to be analysis, synthesis, evaluation, higher level in doing a course level? If somebody wants to just share what you think about that. Okay, so so it doesn't. Many times we might find at a course level a range. It just depends on what you're going to have your students do. Okay, so just keeping that in mind, you're not stuck with having to use those higher levels. All right, let's move on. So applying course level objectives. So let's look at a few more examples. So these are 3 course learning objectives. I had to get a topic that maybe would be, we don't know what everybody teaches, or if you even teach, or, something. So we're going to take dog grooming. Okay. So some course level objectives could be demonstrate a full dog grooming session, explain the use of proper techniques and tools, identify common dog breeds and their specific grooming requirements, apply safe handling and sanitation practices in dog grooming. So notice that these verbs, they're all used at the beginning. Oh, my little picture didn't show up. Okay, that's okay. It was very cute. All right. So each is measurable and observable. So determining their measurability and observability depends on the learner's action to show what is used. Okay. So let me go ahead. I'm going to do another poll. And let's see about this one. Very short. Okay, hang on. All right. So go ahead and take a few seconds to answer this question. Course learning objectives are broad in scope. Ha! Okay. Let's see if y'all are paying attention on the previous page. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end it now in about 3, 2, 1. All right, so these are the results. So course learning objectives are broad in scope. So remember, we're thinking in a broader term. it's because it's a course level. It can be applied anywhere in the course. So they still have to be measurable and observable, but they're more often broad in scope. Okay, so let's go back. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of practices, a little bit of things that we're going to do here. So creating a course learning objective can be applied to any subject of learning. Let's see, let me make sure that, okay, so let's move away from dog grooming to become a travel agent. So of the following, what would be an example of a measurable and observable learning objective for a course where students are learning to become travel agents? Okay, so I'm going to show you. So here's the first one. Understand and apply travel regulation policies and best practices while organizing travel packages. So if you want to unmute yourself, or if you want to use any kind of emojis, is that going to be one that is measurable and observable?
I think apply is measurable, but understand is not. And generally, you want only one verb.
Okay, trick question. Okay, go ahead. Amy, did you have something to say? Okay, I just saw you mute. Thank you, Meg. Correct. Yeah, and we're going to talk about that more. So yes, you really only want one verb. So we're going to come back to that. Let's look at the second one. Develop customized travel packages based on a client preference and budgets. Anybody want to try that one? Is that one measurable and observable? All right. So yes, for develop, you can see it. It's measurable and observable. Now, looking back at these examples, could someone measure a person's understanding? So Meg, you pretty much answered that one. Yes. And likely no, the word understand is not measurable or observable. So how can it be changed? And Meg, you pretty much answered this. So to correct the objective, one option is to omit the word understand and restate the objective to read apply travel regulations. Okay, so good. Thank you for that. All right, we're going to do a little bit more practice. Okay, and I know that I know you can't come in here and do that, so I have a little poll that mimics this little quick check right here. So, which of the following two CLOs is appropriately written? I'll get 5 more seconds. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so I'm going to end the poll and I'll share the results. All right, so let's look at this. So which of the following two CLOs appropriately written? Demonstrate proficiency in using travel booking systems and tools. Become familiar with travel regulations, policies, and best practices. All right, so most folks chose demonstrate, which is one. It was bad. It was kind of flip-flopped in the poll. So let's check our answer. Yes, so the verb demonstrate is measurable and observable. Let's say those that chose become familiar with travel regulations. So incorrect. The word become familiar, they're not measurable. Okay, so they're not measurable, and you can't measure a person's familiarity of something. Anybody else want to share anything about these two of why become familiar with may not be a good verb combination to use? Okay, You all are experts at this. Okay, so let's go back to dog grooming. Now let's practice a little bit more. Are the following objectives measurable and observable? Explain safe handling and sanitation practices in dog grooming. Be aware of safe handling and sanitation practices in dog grooming. So they're very similar. Anyone want to share on these two?
Explain is demonstrable. You can demonstrate explaining something, but being aware of is hard to measure.
Yeah, same thing. Okay. So yes, the verb explain is measurable, observable. One measure and observes another explaining something. Like I could what Meg was doing. She was explaining this explanation. Okay, be aware of. It's not measurable and observable. It does not indicate how a student will apply and show these practices. Okay, so all right, so let's just take a little 2 minutes and just discuss. Is there anyone that wants to share about applying CLOs to your course? Like anything that you do, like your topic, your subject, anything that helps how you're applying? And just remember, there's no right or wrong answer. We're just sharing amongst
Well,
colleagues.
I chime in, as an instructional designer, a lot of times I always see understanding of, demonstration of, and a lot of times I see those verbs, and most people say, well, understanding is a verb. Yes, it is a verb, but is it measurable in the way that you put it into your learning outcome? You know, what is it that you want the students to understand, maybe to kind of narrow that down into a specific outcome. So I run across that a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Gloria. Anyone else? We do that. I get the same, I like understand. I get a lot of that. Use, although use is kind of, it is in Bloom's taxonomy. But it depends on how you do it. Some of the other things, and we'll have an example, is maybe the verb is correct, but it's not aligning with what they want, the objective. So that's another workshop. But sometimes they are correct. They are. It's a great and beautiful objective, but it doesn't align with like an assessment, or it doesn't align with, you know, with what they want the student to do.
We can also see examples where they might use a verb that is in Bloom's taxonomy, but it could be improved, could be a more specific verb for that particular learning objective. So I see a lot of that too.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Meg. And speaking of specific, that's what we're going to be talking about next. So we're going from course level to module level, but we're going to touch on alignment first. Ignore this. All right, so coming in here again, we have our overview page, kind of explaining what we're going to be talking about, writing and defining module level objectives. I won't go through the whole thing again. We'll get right to the material, but just focusing module learning objectives is what we're going to be talking about. And if you notice here, one of the things we kind of have faculty practice is actually putting the CLO, the course learning objective, next to the module learning objective, so that they can actually visibly see the alignment happening. So we use a course map for this, and I know a lot of institutions do the same, but this helps faculty to actually see that. Okay, so alignment, what does it mean? So it's not just a concept, but a crucial factor in online course design. It's like a, key to how well a course goals are supported and work together with course materials to help educators guide students towards achieving academic outcomes. Okay, so it's not just coming from me. I did get it from somewhere. But the course alignment is like a connectedness. So of your course learning objectives and module learning objectives to your assessments, learning activities, instructional materials, and tools. Oftentimes, I know we're going to talk about module learning objectives, but it's when we're talking about course learning and key takeaways, a lot of times what happens is that you're also looking at your major assessments that are going to be happening. And that really does help with getting those, how you want to break it down into your module learning objectives. Okay, so they're the foundation of your course. Okay, the driving force when considering your assessments, your learning activities. It's not for students to know something for the sake of knowing it. Okay, you want it to be relevant. So let's look at course level and assessment alignment. So again, we mentioned the connectedness of course learning objectives and module learning objectives to the assessments. Okay, so you want to establish that relationship. So it's important to realize that whatever you want students to do in the material, using that verb. So if the verb is to explain, is used in the objective, they must have an assessment or space to explain, such as in a written assignment or a discussion. Okay, so this is what sometimes we see as well. Like they will have great and beautiful objectives, but there's no place for students to do the action. There's no place for instructors to evaluate, to measure, to observe it. So that's where the alignment piece comes in. If the verb is list, there must be an assessment such as a quiz or homework assignment to list the information. There's many options on where someone can list something, where someone can explain something. If the verb used is apply or demonstrate, an assessment to show it. Does it have to be 3 different assessments? Let me ask this question before. Does it have to be, if you have 3 different verbs, do you have to have 3 different assessments or learning activities or assignments? Anyone want to chime in on that one? What if you have one major assessment, but you're covering all of them in one major one, like a major project?
Yes, you can do that.
Yeah, definitely. You can definitely do that. Your learning activities would be scaffolded, throughout a course or something. So just remember, having an assessment activity or space that's measurable and observable to evaluate student performance is the critical component in establishing alignment. All right, so let's go back to this dog grooming. What could be an assessment for dog grooming? Okay, what knowledge or skill would you like students to learn that will be valuable after the course? Okay, so here are the CLOs again for that we mentioned before on dog grooming. Demonstrate a full dog grooming session, explaining proper techniques and tools, identifying common dog breeds, apply safe handling sanitation practices. Okay, so here are some possible assessments right here. All right, so virtual grooming presentation. So this covers CLO 1. All right, they're going to be participating, and either, options that definitely can be tweaked. There are different things that, that can be done in an assessment, but as long as it's supporting those objectives, that's the goal. So breed identification and grooming requirements, submitting a comprehensive document, identifying the breed, and so forth. Then safe handling, sanitation practices, reflection, writing a reflective report. Okay, so these could be assessments. They can be all in be one assessment, or you can have more than one. It all depends on, your preference on your course. So how can we get all this information and start putting it together? So some of the tools that we use, and some of y'all may do the same, is we have like a course map. It's an alignment map. So this is where we can physically take, what we've been brainstorming, we've been thinking about, it's in our head, we can physically put it on paper or type it up. So here again are the same course learning objectives and the assessments. All right, so keep that in mind because we're going to kind of shift gears into the module learning objectives. So when we have our assessments, we're thinking about, okay, those are your major things that you want people to do at the end. How can they practice in between before getting to that? And that's how we kind of break it down. So let's go again. We're going to use Bloom's again if you need it, referring back to that Bloom's document. Okay, so learning objectives require the use of an action verb and a noun. Just remember on module learning objectives, that's where we start getting more specific. Okay, so in course learning, it's a little bit more broad. Module learning, it's more specific. Okay, and does it have to be broken up as a module? No, people use weeks. We have accelerated courses now, 8-week courses. This modular format I'm using right here, but we definitely have courses that are weeks, but they would follow the same approach, same course learning objectives, and we call them module learning objectives, but they're also learning outcomes. Okay. So again, I redid the CLOs that we had from previous page. So let's just take the first one. Demonstrate a full dog grooming session. Explain the use of proper techniques and tools. So remember, we are now going from a broader scope to more specific. So here are some examples of what could be in a module. So you're describing the correct use of grooming tools, such as clippers, scissors, tools, brushes. Okay, so this objective is specific, measurable, and observable. Okay, and then another objective, explain a step-by-step grooming process, including bathing, drying, trimming, and nail clipping. Okay, so this is also specific, measurable, and observable. All right, we're going to do another poll. All right, so go ahead and take a few seconds to answer this one. Module learning objectives are specific, no or yes. Both course level and module level objectives must be measurable and observable, no or yes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end it now. Share results. Okay, so is there anyone that wants to comment or share anything about the first one? About being specific?
It seems to me, Tracy, this is Haley. It
Mhm.
seems to me that if the learning objectives are not specific, they're not measurable. That's how I worked backwards in my brain to get to the answer of yes, module learning objectives should be specific, because how else will we assess the students' learning if they aren't specific enough to be measured?
Right. So yes, so they should be specific.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yes, that is what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah, so I agree with you, Haley, yes. And that makes sense that, you need to know what the students are going to be doing in order to evaluate that. Anyone else? Thank you, Haley.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let me stop sharing this. Don't worry, we only have three more polls later. All right, so let's take a look at this. We had this table on a previous page. All right, so we have our course learning objectives, we have our assessments. And now we can start plugging in some module learning objectives, okay? Now, we want, sometimes it's a lot easier if you visualize this on a alignment map, and then you have your learning activities, your instruction materials, and your tools, okay? So we're gonna do a little bit more practice, okay? So before we move on with it, let's do this other poll. And just keep in mind, some of these polls mimic what the interactivity that's on the page that y'all can't do because y'all aren't in the course. So let's go to analyzing module learning objectives. So there's just one. Which objective is specific, measurable, and observable? I think some of these are too easy now that I'm looking at it. I have to create harder ones now. Y'all are too smart. Maybe, I think y'all can see my screen. Can y'all see the poll that as it's live? I don't know.
It pops up on my screen, Tracy. I'm
Okay.
still seeing the course
Okay.
on your screen.
All right, thanks. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end it. Y'all are awesome. Okay, so everybody, it was 100% differentiate the grooming needs of at least 3. Okay. Awesome. All right, so let's look at this. So these are the same examples here. So yes, so this one. Differentiate grooming needs of at least 3 dog breeds by explaining how their coat, texture, size, and skin condition impact grooming techniques. And this is really specific right there, at least 3 dog breeds. So of the examples at the top, could someone measure another's understanding? We had mentioned that no, it's not measurable, observable. What could make it a well-written objective? So if we go back to this one, understand grooming requirements for up to 5 dog breeds and tools. Can we change that? I mean, I'm sure we get that from people we had mentioned before. So how can we change that so that it is specific, measurable, and observable?
You could say explain.
Explain, okay?
They could
Thank you.
demonstrate the tools used up to 5 different dog breeds.
Okay, those are excellent. Okay, and here's another option. Identify at least 5 common dog breeds, providing specific. So those are great options. Thank you, Christine and Kristen. Yeah, so there's definitely options for that. All right, so I don't have a poll for this one, but it'll come later. So you can unmute if you want to. So which of the following 2 MLOs is appropriately written? Describe the proficiency of using a grooming table with a large dog breed. Or become familiar with hygiene practices when sterilizing tools.
The first one.
The first one, let's see if Kristen's right. Yay, woo! Okay, so describe is measurable and observable. All right, so what happens if we said become familiar? It's not measurable, cannot measure a person's familiarity with something. Okay, so kind of the same as we're going across. Are the following measurable and observable? Are they specific? Can they be improved? So let's just take a look at them real quick. Describe safe handling and sanitation practices in dog grooming. Be aware of. These are like really easy, should be really easy now. So now think, are they specific? Can they be improved? Anybody want to share before I reveal? Do the reveal. All right. So yes, Since the verb describe is measurable, it is measurable and observable. Okay, you can measure and observe. However, it can be more measurable, observable, and specific. So describe at least 3 safe handling techniques, 4 sanitation practices, a groomer would use in a dog grooming session. So being specific in context, okay? Where are they going to do it or how, as if they're in a dog grooming session. Let's look at this one. No, be aware of is not measurable or observable, does not indicate how the student will apply or show these practices. So one way to revise, give 3 examples. Give examples is in the Blooms. Okay, so give 3 examples of safe handling and sanitation practices during a dog grooming session. So different ways of changing it. All right, we have one more poll. After this particular poll, we're going to have like a very short quiz. All right, why aren't my polls coming up? All right, I don't know why my poll's not coming up. That's okay. Let me do something really quick. I'm going to stop sharing and I am going to pop up a poll. And then I'm going to go back and share. All right, did it launch? And if it didn't, it's okay. I'm going to keep going.
No, I don't see it, but
Okay,
as a host, co-host, I normally don't see it.
yeah,
I don't see it either.
yeah, that's okay. I don't know what happened. It's not letting me launch. So, oh, okay. How about now?
Yes, it's
Okay.
there.
It's just one question, and we kind of went over it already, so this should be pretty quick. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end it, share results. All right, so y'all are like super awesome. All right, so we just have a few more left, a few more things left. So this is gonna be like a something that if you want to really focus, if you haven't heard anything or really done anything before, this is like a major one. So if you want to participate in this. So again, we're going to take just a list of some of the module level objectives that we've had in the previous pages and just seeing where they would align. So we've been concentrating a lot on course level 1. These course level 2 and 3 haven't been given a whole lot of attention, but we're going to give them attention now. So look at course levels 2 and 3. Of the list here, think about where would they go? How would they align? Would they align under course level 2 or 3? All right, so what I'm going to do, because you can't, you can read this here, but I'm also going to do our last interactive poll, but it's going to be a little bit like format's a little bit different. It's kind of like a quiz. So let's take just a few minutes if you want to do that. And there are all 8 listed. Do y'all see the quiz up there?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so if you want to participate, I'll give you about 3 minutes. I'll give you one more minute and then I'll end it. All right, about 5 more seconds. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end it now. Okay, so it was like split on some of these. Let me share the results. So the correct answer for the first one was CLO2. Okay. For number 2, the correct answer was CLO3. Number 3, everybody got 100% on that one. That was CLO2. Number 4, the correct answer was none. Can someone, and there's a lot that did put under CLO1, but what was the thing that didn't make this measurable and observable?
Using understand.
Mhm.
Yeah, using understand. So that I threw a trick one in there. All right, so number 5 kind of went almost half and half on that one. So the correct answer is none again. Okay, so this was a tricky one. Evaluate proper grooming challenges and techniques used to address these challenges. Now, the verb evaluate. Why would that not be not the best one to use for that? Grooming challenges and techniques used to address these challenges.
I thought that could apply to CLO2 or 3. I don't know, because evaluate is a Bloom's
Yeah, it is.
verb.
It is a
And
Bloom's.
it was hard to interpret that question. I think you're right. None probably would have been the best answer, but I think I chose one of those anyway.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. Thank you, Meg. Let me ask you this. Grooming challenges and techniques, is that really somewhere in any of the CLOs?
So when I read that one, I was reading it so fast, it didn't occur to me that it didn't say anything about specific dog breeds. And so I was answering it as grooming challenges and techniques for specific dog breeds, but I was going too fast through the questions. So otherwise I would have hit none, but I said it was number 2, thinking
Yeah.
about identifying common dog breeds and their grooming requirements. So reading the question correctly is probably important also.
Well, thank you, Christine, for sharing that. So yes, and now think about your students. They're probably also going through this kind of quick too. So the best answer is none on that one.
Yeah, I
Continue.
think that also shows how that's not a well-written
Right.
objective.
Yeah, you're right,
Yeah.
Meg.
Right.
You're right, Meg. Totally. All right, so everybody got 100 on 6. Everybody got 100 on 7, and then there was a mixed on 8. You know what? I was wrong on this one because I went back and use is a Bloom's. I was trying to write one that was a none, and I put the wrong answer on there. So the correct answer should be CLO2. So, okay, so y'all did great. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna just move on really quick on these. So just repeating the above, describe proficiency in of using a grooming table with a large dog breed is a good one. Describe safe handling sanitation practices in dog grooming is another one. All right, I'm going to skip through the summary so we can get through the last. The last one's not going to take very long at all. So this is kind of like, now that you kind of have the purpose for your course learning, your module learning, and then your assessments, getting your learning activities, your instructional materials, and your tools should come a little bit quicker, because you have your main components. So if you're going to have those same two module learning objectives, describe the use of grooming tools and clippers, explain a step-by-step grooming process. Do you need two separate learning activities if you're gonna to satisfy these two module level learning objectives? Okay, more
I don't-
likely. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, I don't think so because I think you could combine them into one longer
Correct.
activity to show both of those skills.
Yes, and this is a common thing that we get from faculty. They might have 6 or 7 module learning objectives. They're like, do I need to have 6 or 7 learning? No, you don't. It can come in 1 or 2, depending how much you have. Okay. Same with your assessment. It can cover more than one. So the trick is to always align it. So you have it here. So you bring down that learning activity. Okay. So you want it here. So if we're looking at describe the proficiency of using a grooming table with a large dog breed, what could a learning activity be for that? So if you're describing the proficiency of using a grooming table with a large dog breed, a possible learning activity, okay, you're watching a video tutorial on large dog breeds, documenting 4 or 5 key requirements in a specific large dog breed. So this could be a homework assignment or something. All right. Describe safe handling and sanitation practices. Okay, same thing. After watching a video tutorial, document 3 safe handling and 2 sanitation practices. Now, could it be the same video? Sure. Could it be 2 separate videos? Sure, just depends. Those videos become what? Your instructional material. Okay, so that's when you have your instructional materials. You should have on your resources and document a list of possible instructional materials. The main thing to remember is must know and a need to know and a nice to know. Okay, get out of all the fluff. What do they need in your instructional material to support your objectives? Okay, so here are examples. Must have, here's a website. Okay, here's a dog grooming, it's a website. All right, and then in their learning activity, watching a video. Okay, here's a video. It's good practice to put how many minutes. This is a very long video. If you want to target certain areas in it, definitely do that. And then watching another tutorial to document safe handling practices. All right. And then the last course tools. So if you're asking them to, another instructional material could be, textbook, pamphlet, so forth. So if you're asking them to go to a website or upload, if you want this learning activity to be a chart and something that they upload, okay, you're going to need the tools in order for them to do that. So Canva can be one, PowerPoint, Word to create the chart. You're going to need your assignments feature in your LMS for them to submit, and a possible another activity, discuss. Using the discussions, they can describe and explain. Okay, that's important. They need a place to do that. There's another alternative is in discussions. So if you choose something like that, you have that. Now for these assignment features, okay, because it's asking them to document. So you want to, if they're going to document something, where are they going to put it? Assignments. Or there could be another place, but this is a likely place. Okay. I know I kind of went long, And that is really it. That is all I had to share today.